had a flashback. I'm 16 years old and I'm in the wings and I'm listening to the boy turning to the other girl and saying, I don't want to be Tina's dance partner because she's too fat to lift. But what I had told myself in that exact moment was, Tina's too fat to live.
Today's guest is Tina Lembo, an inspiration speaker from Perth, Western Australia. Tina shares powerful, honest stories about resilience, healing, and the courage it takes to stop hiding and start living. She's also the creator of Removing the Mask, an online community supporting women to connect, heal, and support one another. Welcome, Tina.
Hello, how are you? Thank you. Good to be here.
What is one of the most courageous things that you have done?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So last year, pretty much near the end of the last year, I finally found the courage to tell my parents that I had been battling an eating disorder for most of my life.
So, wow, that's a big one. That's really is. And I applaud your courage to do that because it's not easy, anything like that. Well, anything's not easy when it's about your personal life. So, yes. So, let's start from the beginning. When did your journey with wearing a mask and body image first begin?
Well, I had a bit of a breakthrough last year. Last year was a really big year for me. I had a bit of a breakthrough, like, when did I actually put on this mask? And I had a flashback to when I'm 8 years old. I'm sitting in church and it's choir practice. And back then I was this really loud, unfiltered, happy go lucky girl. And so I'm in church and I'm singing really loud because I loved to sing. And at the end of the song, the teacher, in front of everybody, singled me out and said, Tina, you're singing too loud. And in that moment, I was crushed and I didn't realize how much of an impact it had on me, where I just lost my voice and really hid and masked the true me from that point at 8 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, so that was the masking. And then if we're talking about the body image, that started about 2 years later. So I'm 10 years old. I'm at my nonna's farm. Part of my journey is that I discovered I had ADHD only a couple of years ago. And things just started to fall into place when I had these, aha moments about the mask and the ADHD. So, again, I was this kid that was unfiltered. I would say things without thinking. So I was talking to my two aunties at my nonna's farm, and I must have said something about being skinny, right? And I don't know if they got offended. I don't know what happened. But anyway, my auntie turned to me and said, Tina, it's because you got worms. And when you get old, you're going to get fat.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't realize again at the time how much of an impact that had on me. But it did plant a seed. That one, there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't normal. Then, along comes puberty. So, you do your body shape does start to change. And so I went to high school. I didn't feel like I fit in. And again, because I didn't understand the ADHD and I'd been masking the real me. So I just felt awkward. I just felt like I wasn't like any of the other girls. So, I struggled in school. But when it came to body image, it started around 16. So it was a sports day, and one of my friends said she didn't have her sports shorts or pants. I think it was winter, so it might have been her pants. Said, hey, I've got a spare pair in my bag. You can have them. So she put them on, and she was very slim. And so when she put them on, they were baggy and oversized, and everybody started laughing. And that's when I just went, oh my gosh, I'm not like her. I'm different. Maybe I'm carrying some extra weight. But the real thing that triggered the eating disorder was probably a couple of months later. I can't remember. It's such a long time ago. but we had a school production, and we went to an all-girls school. So we had the brother school come and join us. I'm pretty excited. There's boys. Going Catholic school was the first time that you get to hang out with the boys. And so I was partnered up with this guy, and we had to do dance routines, not quite dirty dancing, but he did have to lift me up, okay? And I was trying really hard because, I just didn't want to make a mistake. I wanted to impress him. And then one day I was running late for rehearsals, and I was slipping into the wings, and I could overhear him talking to another girl in the production. And he said, "I don't want to be Tina's dance partner because she's too fat to lift." My whole world collapsed. And, it all makes so much sense now. Because the ADHD, there's links between ADHD and eating disorders. Not saying that everyone is like that, but for me it did, right? And so I stopped eating. I dropped about half my body weight, and nobody noticed. That's why my parents didn't know. You get really good at hiding, right? I got really, really good at hiding it. Half my body weight. I was so close to probably organ failure by the end of it. To be honest, I probably didn't eat for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was so long ago, maybe 4 to 6 weeks where I had nothing but water at all. And so we had to have a school dinner. And so I went along, and at the night I was pretending not to eat, but there was photos taken. And so the photographer came round and took a group photo. And so I ordered a copy, and not long after, I got very excited to see the photo. But when I opened it up, I was in shock. I think it really hit me for the first time that my body was dying. But there were warning signs, like I was skin and bone. My eyes were sunken, my cheeks were hollow. I had red welts starting to develop all over my body because my body was shutting down because I hadn't eaten for so long. And I think that's what that shock just said, you need to start eating. But I wasn't really eating a lot, right? I was just eating enough to get through. I went to university, and oh gosh, Anita, my lunch was a packet of salt and tomato sauce. That was what I considered my lunch. Yeah, because I still had this thing in my head that I couldn't eat, because if I ate, then I would put on weight. But then I managed to. That was a couple of years there, so just managing that, and then I met my husband, got married, had kids. So for 3 years, I am proud to say that I was eating really healthy. So during the pregnancy and after the children, things were really good. So my life was looking really good. And then I decided to have a birthday party. And so family and friends were there, we were dancing and singing. And somebody took video of the night. And I sat down the next day to look at the videos, as you do, and I just sat down the bed and broke down crying, because in my eyes, I had put on so much weight. And that triggered 8 years, terrible, terrible 8 years, where I was, had really young children. I was fairly newly in the marriage. I wasn't eating. I was obsessing with dieting. The toxic self-talk and the self-harm was horrendous. And I hid all of this. All of this was hidden from the world. Like I said, nobody even noticed I had an eating disorder. No one noticed in those 8 years that my life was falling apart. Then there was something that happened in the marriage, which is unrelated, and my marriage ended. And so now I find myself, I'm a single mum. Gosh, I've got 2 young boys. I'm not eating. I'm in financial trouble. I thought, what am I going to do to keep my house? So I had a large house at the time, and I decided that I would rent out the rooms to international students. And so I had to make that really hard decision to save my house. So my kids would have somewhere to live to do that. But by then they were a little bit older and they said, they didn't understand. They said, Mum, why are you doing this to us? Why are we renting out rooms to strangers? Why do we have to give up our rooms? They said to me, Mum, you're selfish. You should sell the house and go live somewhere else. The home was my, where I felt safe. They didn't understand what I was going through, with the eating disorder and the marriage breakup. And the home was the only place where I could feel safe. So I felt at the time like a failure as a mum. And I honestly thought that my boys hated me. So I was so close to hitting rock bottom at that time. And I managed to get a job working with a chiropractor part-time, plus the international students and with a chiropractor. And one day he said that his friend from Canada was coming over and that we had to attend his wellness talk. All the staff had to go. And to be honest, Anita, I remember this day so clearly because I had decided to start starving myself on that day. So here I am having to go to this wellness talk. And his mate is talking about, listen, you have to eat well and you have to move well and you have to think well to be happy and healthy. And I'm sitting here at the back going, whatever, mate. I don't care what you are saying. I'm not listening to you. Unless you can tell me something about how to lose weight, I don't care. I don't want to listen to a word that you've got to say. And then I think it must have been about halfway through when I sat up and listened. He very slowly turned to the audience and looked around and said, stop killing yourself. And in that moment, I had a flashback. God, this is really hard to say. I had a flashback. I'm 16 years old and I'm in the wings and I'm listening to the boy turning to the other girl and saying, I don't want to be Tina's dance partner because she's too fat to lift. But what I had told myself in that exact moment was, Tina's too fat to live. And that's what I was doing. With all the things, the toxic self-talk, the self-harm, the extreme dieting, the starvation, I was literally killing my body. And his words saved my life. He made me sit up and made me realize, even though I didn't want to be there, I didn't want to listen to what he said, it really hit home. And for the first time, I realized what I was doing. And that's where my healing journey began.
Wow. What a courageous journey. Oh my gosh, Tina. For one, I am glad you went to that talk and you heard the words. I mean, we can hear sometimes to embody it. Absolutely well done. And none of it's easy. None of it at all. I mean, with children, we're impressionable. And someone saying, oh, you're too fat. Kids can be cruel when we're young. We all do it, let's say, and it's so important. For one, I am glad you are still here.
Thank you. It's been a long journey.
Yeah. So after that wellness talk, how did your healing journey actually begin? What did recovery look like for you?
It was not easy, I can tell you that, because that was in 2008. And I'm going to be really honest, it's 2026 now. And even today, I still struggle with body image and my eating disorder. But I learnt to get on track gently. Whereas, in the past where I would have done terrible things to my body, I get back on track quickly. But it was a long journey. And I think the first step was I did listen to what he said about eating well. Okay. So I started to introduce healthy foods into my diet rather than the ridiculous things I was doing, like 5 cups of coffee a day and living off that for weeks. So I slowly started to introduce healthy foods into my diet. So that was the first step. And once I did that, then I could focus on, what are some of the other things in my life that I'm missing? And I thought, even though I didn't know back then about the mask, I felt like I wasn't being my true self. And I can't remember how. I think one of the mums at school she was like the manager or organizer of Radio Lollipop, which is at the Children's Hospital. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's where you volunteer and you get to be either a DJ or you get to go around and entertain all the children in the hospital. So I don't know. I thought that sounds like a really good idea again, because I was on this path of discovering who I was and had lots more energy because I'm eating properly. So how can I give back? That was something was missing. I thought, how can I give back? So I started volunteering there, and you can't hide. Right, this is where there is no mask, because you know what kids are like. They can see it straight away if you've got this mask on. So you have to be your full, authentic self. So volunteering really, really made a difference to me. But I thought I was making a big difference to the kids. And to be honest, there was one day where we had to dress up as our favorite sports star or with this favorite sport. So I decided to put on my tennis dress and had my tennis racket and my hat over my head. And so we were going around room to room, entertaining the kids, laughing and playing and having fun. And then, so I was so full of energy, right? And so we went to the cancer ward, and I just opened this door really quickly because I was still full of energy, and then stopped in my tracks because the room was dimly lit. There was this young little boy with his sad little brown eyes looking up at me, and I can't explain how the room was. It was like suffocating because it felt like there was no air in there because of the sadness that everyone was carrying around this little boy. And as I've come in, and again, I'm Italian background, so I've gone, hello, and thrown my hat off my head. And he just sat up and started laughing. And I had a choice to make right there and then. Do I hide? Do I mask the real Tina inside that I really love and people should get to see? Or should I just be like everyone else? I decided to be me. And then by the end of it, everyone was laughing. He was laughing. I thought this brief moment, there was life back in that room for that child. I thought I gave them a gift. No, he gave me the gift. He allowed me in that moment to be my true, authentic self. So that was part, and I don't volunteer there anymore because, life changes, but I do volunteer as an ambulance officer. And again, it's another opportunity to help people. You don't think about yourself in those moments. You're thinking about other people. So I developed it wasn't until years later where I have developed the ARC philosophy, ARK. And the first thing I discovered was being authentic. And that's what he taught me. I needed to be authentic in that moment, right? And then the R is reconnecting with things, your purpose, your joy, your mission. And for me, I just had a dream. I wanted to sing on stage again. And I just always, the incidents at the church when I was 8, and then with my dance partner, really, I got stage fright for all of that. But it was something that was missing in my life. That brought me joy. So in 2014, I traveled to Baltimore with a chorus, and it was my dream to sing on an international stage. So I got to sing on an international stage with my chorus. Yes. So there was like 50 of us in front of 3,000 people. But that was my reconnecting with something that brought me joy. And then when I think of my ARC philosophy, there was one thing still missing in my recovery journey. Yes, I'm being authentic. Yes, I'm reconnecting with things that, give me purpose and mission, but I wasn't being kind to myself. And that was a really, really big thing for me, Anita. All my life, since 8 years old, I had told myself I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy. I needed to be quiet. There's something wrong with you, Tina. You're so different. Don't shine. Don't be you. Be silent. And I realized that that's what I was missing, the way that I spoke to myself. So I did a lot of, personal development, did a healing course. I really started to shift the way that I spoke to myself. And listen, my life is not perfect. I'll tell you right now. Right now, I'm even struggling. I have really bad days and then good days, but I need to remind myself, where is there a leak in my arc? Am I not being authentic? And I'm not reconnecting with the things that bring me joy? And I'm not being kind to myself? And to be honest, in the last probably couple of days, I probably haven't been kind to myself. So, that reminds me, okay, Tina, stop that and think about all the amazing, wonderful things that you've done and what your mission is to really inspire and help people. So there were all those things that have led me to this point in time, is that big recovery journey that has helped me get where I am today.
Wow. How incredible, Tina. Honestly. And I love the arc analogy. It's just, I love the honesty, the rawness, having the courage to face it and be you. How many people out there this day and age hide? They're not being themselves all the time. So, absolutely well done. You're an inspiration, really.
Thank you. And you're right, it's when I share my story, like so many people come up to me and say, guess what? I suffer from an eating disorder. Or, you know what? My daughter puts a mask on. She says her little daughter puts a mask on the second she steps out the car door. It breaks your heart. It really does break your heart that there are so many people that can't get to be their true, authentic self because you got to be seen on social media to have this perfect life. Because if you're not perfect life, no one's going to buy from you, no one's going to friend you, no one's going to follow you, but none of that's real. I mean, it's like, it's pretty sad that they have to put on this mask to think that that's the way that somebody will love them. But guess what? People will love you just the way you are.
And that's the key here. If they're worth loving you, they will love you as you are. If not, it's not your business. Let them get on with it.
Yeah.
So looking
Absolutely.
back, yes. So looking back now, what do you wish you'd had known during your darkest moments?
I wish I knew I had ADHD. That's a big one. And that I'd put the mask on. Because of that, I think having that awareness, I would not have struggled alone. I struggled alone for such a long time and in so much pain, not understanding why I was so different. But it was different times then. It wasn't something ADHD. I don't think anyone knew about it back then, and the concept of wearing a mask. So I just wish that if I could go back to my younger self, I could say, hey, no, you're okay. Don't worry if you're singing loud and proud. That's you. Just keep being you. And then also, about the body image and if I go back, Tina, go speak to your parents, go speak to someone about the issues that you're going through. So yeah, they're probably some of the things that, looking back, I wish I had done or known to help me in my journey. But that's okay, because I probably wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you if my life was perfect. And maybe by sharing my story of the journey and my struggle might be able to help someone, because in 2008, that wellness speaker saved my life. His word saved my life. And like you said, some people might not want to hear it right now, but this journey happened for a reason. I believe that. So I can share my story and hope that other people know there is a chance to recover and live a better life.
Definitely, Tina. Definitely. Yes. That's what it's about, isn't it? We go through things and then we realize, we need to come from the inside out. The outside world is noise. And then we realize, actually, you know what? Let me share this. If I can help one person, I've done my job.
That's it. That's exactly what I say. Yeah. Because that one person was me, Anita.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yes. So what would you say to a woman listening right now who's struggling with body image or silently battling food and self-worth?
One, that you matter. I think it's really important that someone tells you, that no matter if you don't love yourself, if you don't love the way that you look, you're important and you matter. And that reach out and speak to someone. Don't do what I did. Don't hide from it. Don't pretend. Put this happy face. It's bubbly Tina. face on, because inside it really does wear you down. So if you're in that situation, there's hope. Go speak to someone, speak to some, your friends. If it's not your friends, there's a lot of places that you can reach out and get help, and know that you're perfect. It doesn't matter what you look like, because you know what? When I'm 100 years old, it doesn't matter what I look like. Who am I being inside? Am I being this authentic, self-expressed, beautiful woman that people love? That's what people love, that your beauty fades on the outside. So please know that you're beautiful and amazing, and reach out to someone who can help you. Don't do it alone like I did. I wish someone had helped me back then.
Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely. Yes. And everyone, we all have self images which we're not happy about, or we feel less than courageous about sharing. But getting that little help, or just talking to someone, just saying it out aloud, is the first step.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. For parents who might be listening, what are some early signs that a child might be struggling with an eating disorder?
Oh gosh. I just want to say to any parents listening, please do not be hard on yourself if you missed it. Okay? Because when I told my parents, a couple of months ago, so my mum was like in a bit of shock, because she missed it. She goes, she's so cute. She's an Italian lady. She goes, oh, but people can think really bad of me because I didn't know you were going through an eating disorder. And my dad just jokes. He made a joke about it, which is my dad. My dad's way of, like saying, oh, are you okay? But he has to make a joke of it. And that's what I said to them. I said, Mum and Dad, please do not put the blame on yourself, because I got really, really good at hiding it, right? So if you're a parent out there, kids are smart, right? They know how to get around things and hide things from you. Couple of things to look for, which is a telltale sign, especially for girls. So if you're a parent of a girl and she has to wear like a skirt, safety pins. I don't know what you call it. Do you call them safety pins or bobby pins? Something to make them smaller? Is that what you safety pin? Right. So that's what I was doing. Because my skirt was falling off me at the end because I'd lost half my body weight. So I would get a safety pin and pin my skirt to make it a bit tighter. And then that turned into 2 safety pins. So when you're doing the washing, check the skirts for that. I mean, I guess if it's boys, maybe, because boys suffer from eating disorder. It's not just girls. But maybe look for the safety pin to make their small clothes a bit smaller. I really isolated myself from family and friends. So if you notice that they're isolating themselves from their family and friends, maybe just ask the question. Dinner. My excuse was because I was 16, okay, and I was studying. So I've already eaten dinner, Mum. I'm going to go into my room and study now. Classic. She didn't even know because she was busy working. Red welts on their body, or if you notice, obviously the signs of the massive body weight drop. But see, my parents didn't even notice that, so maybe that's not a sign, because sometimes you just miss those signs. And a jumper. In summer, to hide the red welts, I was wearing a jumper in summer. And if you know Perth heat, I feel like I'm sweating now because it's so hot in Perth at the moment. Our summers aren't kind, so I was wearing this jumper to hide these red welts all over my body. And also, if you're a parent with a child of ADHD, like I said, it doesn't mean that your child has an eating disorder, but studies show there is a link between ADHD and eating disorders. And it doesn't mean that it's anorexia or bulimia. It could be just like, I only want to eat beige food. I'm sure parents who are out there have children that just have, I just want to eat chips and nuggets, sort of things. So if you are a parent, listen to your children. Listen to the signs, look for the signs, and just don't pass any judgment. Just be this open, beautiful space where they feel safe to come and talk to you, no matter what they tell you. And my children have told me things, or I've had to sit there and smile and go, oh my gosh, they've just told me that. I want to cry. But just be this open, beautiful space that they feel that they can come and talk to you, and then work on the plan to get them help. But there's some of the signs, because everyone's different. But that's, for me, there were some of the things that, you could look out for if you think your child might be suffering from an eating disorder.
That's really great. And thank you for sharing that with us. What is one of the most important lessons you've learned over your life so far, Tina?
Gosh, there's been so many lessons. I think the most important one, and I'm going to be honest, it's not easy and really, really hard to do, is Anita, I still struggle removing the mask and being my true, authentic self. Like, I have to remind myself that it's okay to be me because I still have stuck in my head that it's not okay to be me. It's not okay to be this outrageous, old, passionate woman. I suppress that so often. And, sometimes it's sad, but I do need to remind myself that that's the most important lesson is like, be your true authentic self. Do you know how draining it is every day to pretend to be someone else when inside you're just crying because this beautiful person just wants to get out, but they're so afraid that people might not like them, that they might not fit in. I think society has set that up, that no one's going to friend you on Facebook or social media. If your real self, if people see the real you, they're not going to like you. Defriend straight away or block her, and that's not true. So I think, the important lesson is try, and I struggle each day to do that because it's been a long time masking, but try to be my true, authentic self as much as possible.
And that's so beautiful and amazing, Tina. Seriously. If there was one key takeaway you want every listener to walk away with today, what would that be?
Oh gosh, key takeaway. Let me have a think about that one. I think it's like nobody's life is perfect, okay? And if you're sitting here listening to this, and like I said, you're a woman or a man who thinks that you look at other people's lives and think that they've all got it together, you don't know. You honestly, because when people looked at me, they think, oh, I've got the nickname Bubbly Tina, right? Because that's what I let people see. So I think the message is, and the key takeaway is that don't just look at somebody else's life and compare your life to theirs. Live your true, authentic life the way that you want to be. And remember my ARC philosophy, right? So if there's something that's not going right in your life, where are the 3 areas where things aren't going right? Ask yourself, am I being authentic? Have I reconnected with my purpose? Am I doing things that bring me joy? And am I being kind to myself? Because kindness is powerful. We give so much kindness away to others, but barely any to ourselves. And I think maybe that is the key message in the end. Just be kind to yourself, because it really does change your life and then everyone around you. So definitely be kind to yourself, please.
Absolutely. I can't echo that enough. That's so true. Yes. So where can the listeners find you online? What's your website, Tina?
So my website is www.tinainspireshope.com. And then on social media, it's Tina Inspires Hope on Threads and Instagram and Facebook, from memory. They're the places that they can reach out to me. Like my community is a global community. So if there's any women out there that, feel that they want to get some support, it is a paid community. It's like a cup of coffee a month is the cost to join the community, but it's where you can connect with other women and support each other. So that's a place that they can reconnect. And like I said, take off the mask and try and live this, their authentic life.
That's brilliant. And all the links, listeners, will be in the show notes. Please do connect with Tina. And if you've got any questions, I'm sure she'll be more than a pleasure for her to answer.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here to do. My mission is to change people's lives. And if it's just that one person, then that's so important to me, to change that, make a difference to one person.
So thank you for sharing your insightful wisdom and knowledge with us today. And by doing so, I know you have helped so many others make a difference. I really want to acknowledge that. Tina Lembo.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share my story. And hopefully that inspires others to be courageous.
Definitely. So we are all about Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast here. What is your definition of courage?
Gosh, okay. So for me, courage is about being afraid and still doing the thing that scares you anyway.